I wanted to get to Joseph in Tennessee.
Cool.
He, him in Tennessee. You can't know anything with absolute certainties, and don't we need faith? Hello, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph.
Hello there.
Hey there. You're
Good to see you, man.
Thanks for calling in. You
Hey,
saying we need faith? Go ahead and tell us your thoughts here.
Yeah, so my thoughts is, well, first I guess we should define faith. The way I define it is the belief in something without sufficient evidence for it. Would you guys agree with that?
Sure,
Faith
yeah.
is the evidence of things not seen and the substance of things hoped for, according to the Bible. But yeah, let's go with that. Go ahead and make your point really quick, Joseph, because we've almost run out of time, but I want to hear what you've got here.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So my thoughts are that with the problem of hard solipsism, that we can't know for a fact if the universe that we exist in is in fact real, or it could be a simulation, or a brain in a vat, that whole thing. To have any kind of quality of life, you have to make yourself believe that this universe is real, so you'll get out of bed in the morning and not just be a total nihilist and be depressed. So what my thoughts is, this whole argument is an argument for the belief in God, not necessarily the existence of God. So it's closer to like a Pascal's wager. So
Right.
My thoughts are that if you can have faith that the universe that you live in does in fact exist and is real, so that your quality of life is improved, how is that any different than someone having faith in a God to improve their quality of life in that way?
Yeah, so I would say, I think you made a really good analogy when you talked about simulation theory or the idea that we can't prove that the world exists. You're correct. Even if I could give you proof positive that this is not a simulation, you could then say that's part of the simulation. And even if you woke up like Neo out of this simulation, you could then say, I'm now in level 2 of the simulation. This is also part of, that was all part in the plan. So what you have here, it's not faith to say that that's not real or that you don't believe that's real, because what you have here is an unfalsifiable claim. This is something that you cannot possibly test and disprove. It's exactly like we were talking about earlier about the goblin in my closet. You can't prove that that's not real, but what you don't get to do is say, I can't prove it's not real, therefore it probably is, or therefore it probably blah, blah, blah. You just say, I don't know. This isn't, I have no reason to waste my time and energy thinking about this. It's the same way with hard solipsism. Yeah, sure, there's a reasonable possibility that we're all brains and vats, or that I'm the only brain in a vat imagining you and blah, blah, blah. But there's no way to say that is or isn't real. There's no evidence I could possibly bring up that would confirm or deny it in any way, shape, or form. So it's just not worth my time. I know that I'm experiencing this. This is the hand I'm dealt. This is what I'm going to deal with. So that's all. I don't think that's a faith-based position.
Yeah, and I think
you do accept that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's faith-based to say this is what I know for sure. This is what's in front of me. I know, the old I think therefore I am. I know I exist, and this is what existence looks and smells and feels like. So this is what I'm going to rock with.
Yeah,
until I have evidence of the contrary.
And I think we have to assume, like you said, we don't know that this isn't a simulation, so we have to go with our best understanding and our confidence that what I'm doing, if I get in this car and put the ignition, it's going to start because it has before, and it's probably a car, and I'm probably driving down a road. I'm probably talking to my computer and a guy named Forrest and someone else on the other line. But to jump from that to believing in a God, when you have to choose between any number of gods, both past and present, and putting your faith in the qualities of a God, the difference between a God and putting confidence or faith in the reality that I see around me is this God is making claims on my life and is making assertions that I have to do this or that, or I will receive this or that. If someone were to tell me that there's a God out there that created the universe and then just went off and has been having a picnic in some other galaxy ever since, and makes no claim on my life and doesn't try to involve himself in my life, I would say, I don't really care. It makes no difference to me. It has no impact on my day-to-day living, has no impact on my future, so who cares? But with the God that we're dealing with in this culture that we live in, especially in America, the God is consistently and constantly making claims, or the people that represent him, are making claims on us and trying to enforce and push their agenda on everyone around them. That's a problem. That's why we have shows like this, to refute that and to ask them to give us evidence for these outrageous claims. So yeah, we could say, still, like you said, and with your analogy, that we don't really know for sure that anything we see around us is true or real, but it doesn't matter on the same level as it does when we're talking about a God who's making claims on our lives. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, I would say you guys are making really good points, but I would say that the belief in the universe that you exist in, on whether or not it's actually real, would have an effect on your life. And so I would say that it is something that solipsism is something that each skeptical person, would have to come to some kind of terms with to rectify that in their own way, so that they can go on with their life in a normal way. So again, I'm just, and again, you guys are making really good points, but I'm having trouble finding or understanding how that is not a faith-based belief. The fact that the reality that you're in is in fact real. I'm having trouble. I'm stumped on that not being faith.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier on when we talk about any claim. You can make three choices. You can say, yes, that is true, no, that is not true, or I need evidence for that. And so like, you have sufficient evidence that reality is here. You're part of it, right? And everything else, because you're living in it. Like I said, it's the idea, I think, therefore I am, right? You exist because you're thinking about existing. So there is a reality that you are a part of. Anything that challenges outside of that says that everything you're experiencing is a lie, everything that you think is real isn't, and there's actually this beyond this, you can say, yes, that's true, which requires faith. You can say, no, that's not true, which requires faith. Or you can say, until you give me a reason to think that's true, I don't care. And that's the position we're arguing for. That's non-faith based. That is what we call the null hypothesis. Until you give me a sufficient reason to believe that, I don't believe that. I'm not saying it isn't real for sure. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not even saying it's possible. I'm just saying I don't believe you. And it's the same way that we should all feel about most of these claims.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks so much for calling.
Yes, sir.